Hey there crafter, my name is Amanda and welcome to my channel Crafters Autonomous. So in my very first year of having my channel, I brought to you a crochet pattern that I called the Any Size Santa Hat. And in that video I shared a technique on how to make a Santa hat where we start at the top and work our project down towards the brim. And using this one pattern you can adjust it and work however many or few rows you want to make your Santa hat whatever size you want. You of course can make them bigger than these ones here, but in that video I showed how I made some miniature ones for my sister's Funko Pops. So this year I decided to bring you how to crochet any size elf head. This will be very similar to the any size Santa hat, but we make one little tweak on the pattern, and I'll also show you how to crochet the ears. And again, I made a miniature one for my sister's Funko Pops. So as far as material goes, we're going to need our yarn and our two main colors. I'm going to use red and green, and I'm using a weight 4 yarn. This is some of Hobby Lobby's. I love this yarn. You'll also want a color for your elf ears, and then you may also want to make a pom-pom for your hat. I'm going to use a size H 5mm crochet hook, and you'll also want scissors and maybe a needle to sew in your ends. I'm going to start this project in my green yarn, but of course you can start in whichever color you want, and you don't have to make your color changes where I make them, but I'll show you where I make my color changes. Also, as another note, while this will be very similar to the Any Size Santa hat, when I make a project a bunch, I usually find some ways to improve the pattern, so I'm going to show you some updated things on this pattern that I didn't do in the Any Size Santa hat. But we're going to start by putting a slip knot on our hook, and then I'm going to chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3, and then go back to my very first chain, insert my hook, yarn over and work a slip stitch to join and form a little ring. And then I'm going to work my first round inside this ring. Now I'm going to cut out turning chains by using an alternative turning chain. I've got a video on that and I'll link that up there, but I'll still walk you through all the steps in this video. So for my first round, I'm going to work an alternative turning chain to the height of a double crochet stitch. So to do this, I've got this loop on my hook from where I worked my slip stitch, and then I'm going to insert into the center of the ring that we made. And I like to wrap this tail around with that center ring, but I'm just kind of catching that tail to work over it. But basically, I'm inserted through the ring, and I'm going to yarn over with my working yarn tail and pull up a loop. Then once I have these 2 loops on my hook, I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. So it's kind of like we worked a single crochet without first doing a turning chain. Once I've worked that, I'm going to find this left bar that runs up and down right here. So you'll end up with 2 little posts kind of going upright. Go to that leftmost one and insert underneath it from right to left. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And that is how you work an alternative turning chain to the height of a double crochet. Now we're going to turn this stitch into what I call a triangle stitch. So the triangle stitch is basically made up of a double crochet with a single crochet in its side, but the first one in every row is going to be worked a little bit different. So to work the very first triangle stitch of a round, I'm going to insert under that same spot where I inserted under for that last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So it's kind of like I worked a single crochet and then immediately worked 2 single crochets in the side of it. And that is my first triangle stitch. To complete round 1, I'm going to work 3 more triangle stitches, and these are going to be made by doing a double crochet stitch and then working a single crochet stitch into the side of it. So first of all, I'm going to yarn over, insert into the center of my ring, and work just a normal double crochet stitch. So I pulled up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's my double crochet stitch there. And then to turn it from a double crochet stitch into a single crochet stitch, I'm going to find this loop on the side of my double crochet. So a double crochet, I've got these 2 loops here at the bottom, and then 2 loops here at the top. And then on the side right here, it might be pulled a little tight from your loop on your hook. We want to find that little loop right there. And we're going to insert underneath this and work a single crochet stitch. So insert my hook right underneath that little loop. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 to work a single crochet stitch in the side of that double crochet. And together, that is my second triangle stitch. Now we're going to work a third triangle stitch, same way as we worked that previous one. Start off with just a normal double crochet stitch. Nothing different about this so far. And then to turn it from a double crochet stitch into a single crochet stitch, we're going to find this loop right here on the left side of our double crochet stitch. Insert our hook underneath there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 to work a single crochet stitch in the side of that double crochet. And then one more time for a 4th triangle stitch. Start with a normal double crochet where we yarn over, insert and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then in the side of the double crochet, we're going to work a single crochet. So insert under that loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now that we've worked these 4 triangle stitches, we're going to finish round 1 by slip stitching in the top of our first stitch to join. But before we do that, I want to clarify a couple of things that might be a little confusing about this. So round 1 is made up of 4 triangle stitches. So if we were to look in our ring, we only have 4 stitches worked in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. However, each triangle stitch is kind of like an increase because we have that double crochet and that single crochet. So even though we only work 4 stitches into the ring, we really have the tops of 8 stitches going around. So if we start here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's because each triangle stitch is kind of like an increase. So it's a little bit different, a little unconventional. There's only 4 bases of stitches, but there's 8 tops of stitches. But now that I've cleared that up, we're going to count back 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. To get back to our very first stitch from the round, and I'm going to insert underneath here, yarn over, and slip stitch to join. Now I like to pop it this way where I'm working around the outside of the hat versus keeping it pointed away from me where I'm working on the inside, but it's just a matter of preference, doesn't really matter what you do. So that is round 1. Now for round 2, we're going to chain 1, and in the stitch where we joined, and in all 8 stitches, we're going to work 1 single crochet. So this is where I joined. I'm going to insert my hook and work a standard single crochet stitch. So that's 1 single crochet stitch. Go to our next spot, work our 2nd single crochet, 3rd single crochet, 4th single crochet, and we're just working evenly along the tops of these stitches. A 5th single crochet, 6th single crochet, 7, and then 8. And then to finish this round, I'm going to find my very first single crochet of the round. You can count back, but I know it's this guy right here. Insert in the top, yarn over, and slip stitch to join. Now I'm going to swap to my red color. You can fasten off, which is what I'm going to do. When I made this hat, I carried my working ends. So if we look on the inside, I have these tails where I carried it from round to round. That's an option. I just find that it's a little easier if you fasten off completely because you don't have to worry about tension and things like that. So I'm just going to fasten off, leave a short tail that I can work over, and then we'll swap to the red. Alright, so you can join this however you want. I'm going to show you my preferred method. I'm going to start by making a slip knot in my red and putting that slip knot on my hook. And I'm going to work over both of these tails, so I'm going to be moving the tails around so that I work around those as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this round with a triangle stitch. And remember, a triangle stitch is a double crochet with the single crochet on the side, so let's start with a double crochet. I'm going to yarn over, so I've got 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to insert in the same spot where I worked the join. And then I'm just moving my tails over so I can work over them. And then making sure to not let this untwist. I'm going to yarn over with my red and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's how I like to join with a double crochet stitch. Now we need to turn this double crochet into a triangle stitch, so I'm going to find that side loop of my stitch and insert underneath there and work a normal single crochet. Then in my next stitch, I'm going to work just a double crochet. So we've worked a triangle stitch and a double crochet. We're going to repeat this around a total of 4 times. So we've got 2 more times to repeat this pattern. So we're going to start with the triangle stitch. So start with a double crochet, and then in the side, work a single crochet, and then in the next one, just work a normal double crochet. Repeat the pattern again. We're going to work a triangle stitch. So I'm starting with a double crochet, and then in the side, I'm going to work a single crochet stitch to turn it into a triangle stitch. And then in my next stitch, I'm going to work just a normal double crochet. Repeat that pattern again. Triangle stitch, so I'm starting with a double crochet and putting a single crochet in the side of that stitch, and then just a normal double crochet stitch. And now it's time to join, so I'm just going to join with a slip stitch in the top of my very first stitch from the round. And then I'm going to fasten off because I'm going to change back to the green. So with row 3 here, just for some clarification, we worked a total of 8 stitches around, but remember we worked 4 triangle stitches, and each triangle stitch adds a stitch. So it's like we have 8 stitches at the base, but 12 stitches along the top. And at this point I'm going to explain the pattern that repeats. This is an every other round pattern, where the first round we're going to have triangle stitches, then the next round we single crochet evenly around. Next round, we're going to have triangle stitches, and then next round, single crochet evenly around. So this next round, I'm going to do 12 single crochet stitches. And again, I like to swap back to my green. So I'm going to start by putting a slip knot on my hook, and I'm going to start by working a single crochet stitch where I joined the previous round. And again, I'm just moving my tails over so I can work over them. So I'm going to catch my yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's my first single crochet. Go to my next stitch, work a second single crochet, and then a third single crochet, fourth single crochet, and I'm just going to work evenly along until I've done 12 single crochet stitches for this round. And that is my 12th stitch. I'm going to find my first stitch from the round and slip stitch to join. And now we're back to doing a triangle stitch round. So let me explain how the triangle stitch rounds repeat. So remember, every other round is just even single crochet stitches, and then the rounds between those are triangle stitches. So the first round, we're going to work 4 triangle stitches. Then on the third round, we're going to work a triangle stitch followed by a double crochet and do that 4 times around. On row 5, we're going to work a triangle stitch followed by 2 double crochet stitches and then work that 4 times around. Row 6 will be 16 single crochet stitches. In each single crochet round, we're going to have 4 more stitches because of those triangle stitch increases. So round 2, which was my first round of single crochet, had 8 single crochet stitches. And then round 4, which is my second round of single crochet stitches, I worked 12. And then round 6, I will work 16. Round 8, I will work 20, and so on. But we are on round 5, so let's go ahead and work round 5, which is a triangle stitch round. So to start a triangle stitch round, I'm going to do that same little funky thing I did in the beginning, where I'm going to start by inserting in the stitch where I joined, yarning over and pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then in this left-hand side of that stitch I just worked, right in there I'm going to work 2 single crochet stitches. So yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, that's like a double crochet, and then insert again, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and working that second single crochet turns it into a triangle stitch. Now the last time we did a triangle stitch round, we had 1 double crochet between triangle stitches. This time we're going to have 2 double crochet between triangle stitches. So that was my triangle stitch, and then my first double crochet just like normal, and a second double crochet just like normal. And then this is the pattern that will repeat 4 times around. So I'm going to work a triangle stitch. Because I'm not doing the beginning of a round, I'm just going to work a double crochet like normal, and then put a single crochet in the side of it, and then work 2 double crochet stitches, 1 and then 2. Repeat the pattern. Start with a triangle stitch, so those start with a double crochet, and then we find that little side loop and work a single crochet. And then in each of the next 2 stitches, work just a normal double crochet. So that's my first normal double crochet and my second normal double crochet. Repeat the pattern one more time. A triangle stitch, and then 2 normal double crochets. So 1 and 2. And then it's time to join the round with a slip stitch. So I'm going to find the top of my first stitch from the round and slip stitch that together. So this round will have 12 stitches at the base, but we added 4 more stitches at the top for a total of 16 tops of stitches. And then it's time for a single crochet round where we start with a chain 1 and then work a single crochet in each of my 16 stitches. So while I finish single crocheting around this round, I just want to talk really quick about knowing how do you start a round. So there's a few different scenarios of how we start rounds. First of all, there's starting a round of single crochets where we're working in the same color. If you're working in the same color, start by chaining 1 and then work single crochet stitches evenly around. If you're changing color, I like to do it where I start with a slip knot on my hook and I insert in my first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and not really do a chain in there if I'm joining a new color. Then secondly, there's 2 ways to start rounds with the triangle stitch. The first way is if you're working in the same color, we're going to do that thing that I call an alternative turning chain, where we stack up those single crochet stitches to create a triangle stitch. And we don't do a chain in there, we just stack them up. That's if you're working in the same color. The other scenario is if you're changing color and you're starting with a new color. So in that case, we take our new color and put a slip knot on our hook, yarn over, and then insert where we want to work and work a normal double crochet, and then turn it into a triangle stitch by working a single crochet in the side of it. So hopefully that clears up the little differences in how you start a row, and you can determine which start you need to use. So now I've finished this round, I'm going to slip stitch in the top of my first single crochet from the round, and then fasten off because I'm going to go back to the red. So to finish this project, I would then do a round of red, and this would be a triangle stitch round. Now because the previous triangle stitch round had 2 double crochets between triangle stitches, this triangle round would have 3 double crochet stitches between triangle stitches. So to continue the pattern and make it as big as you want, each time you do a triangle stitch round, you're going to work 1 extra double crochet between triangle stitches. To continue working the single crochet rounds, each single crochet round is going to have 4 additional stitches than the previous single crochet round. And then you just keep working this project until it's as big as you want. Another thing you can do, which especially if you're making a hat to go on something or like to wear, is once you get the size you want, I like to do a few rounds of double crochet where I'm not increasing, just so I have a long enough kind of brim at that right width. And I just find it creates a cleaner edge and a little bit better fit. So once you get the width you want, you continue to make it longer by just working double crochet evenly around. So I'm going to make this hat a little bit bigger, and then I will show you how you can make the ears and also how to adjust it for different sized hats. So here is my hat after I've worked a few rounds. I of course have some tails I need to deal with, but if you want you can add a pom-pom, or it still looks super cute even if you don't add a pom-pom on the top. But what the elf hat definitely needs is some ears. So let me show you how I crochet the ears. Now the ears, I'm going to show you how I make them this little size, and then I'll show you how you kind of repeat a pattern to make them bigger and bigger. So depending on what size hat you make, you may want to adjust how large or small your ears are. So let's get into that. To make my ear, I'm going to start by putting a slip knot onto my hook. And you do want to leave this tail a little bit long. This is a little overkill, but we're going to use this tail to attach it to the hat, so make sure you leave it long enough, because if you make it too short, it's just very annoying to try to fasten it on. So make sure you leave a long enough tail. And then I'm going to very tightly chain 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to work up this side and then down the opposite side of the chain, and it's going to be a mirrored pattern. So in my second chain from my hook, I'm going to work a slip stitch, and I'm just working through 1 loop. In my next stitch, I'm going to work a single crochet. And then I'm going to work a half double crochet in my next chain. And then this last chain of the row, I'm going to work 3 double crochet stitches. So I'm working underneath right here. I'm going to work 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to kind of turn a little bit and work down this opposite side. So I want to find the very first chain, so it's this piece right here. I'm going to find the opposite side of it, and right there I'm going to work 3 double crochet. We're basically going to work this side just in backwards order. So I'm going to work 3 double crochet into here, so 1, 2, and 3, all in that same spot. And so basically we've worked 3 double crochet on one side of this chain and 3 double crochet on the other side. Then on this side we have a half double crochet on one side of a chain. So we're going to work a half double crochet on the opposite side of that chain. So that's our spot right here. And work a half double crochet stitch. Next stitch we're going to work a single crochet. And finish it off with a slip stitch in our next stitch. Now once you repeat this pattern to the size you want, so let's say I only want it to be this big, what you want to do is slip stitch all the way to the point. So for me I really only need to do one more slip stitch, and I like to work it on the back side here. So let's say we're making it this size. I would slip stitch right under here, because I just need to go one more stitch to get to the point. And then I'd yarn over, pull up a loop, cut it off, and I'd fasten off there, and that would be the size of my ear. But let's say we wanted to make our ear bigger. We're going to do a very similar process, but each row we're going to do an extra slip stitch to start and an extra slip stitch to end. So here's what I mean. I'm going to turn my work, not in the first stitch, but in the second stitch, work a slip stitch. Then in my next stitch, work a slip stitch. And then we're going to do a single crochet, half double crochet, and then 3 double crochet in one spot. So do a single crochet, a half double crochet, and then 3 double crochet all in the next stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. That's the first half of this row, and then we're going to mirror it down the other side. So we're going to start with 1, 2, 3 double crochet all in the next stitch. So that's 1, a second double crochet in that same spot, and a third double crochet in that same spot. In the next stitch, work a half double crochet, then a single crochet, and now we need to work 2 slip stitches. So 1 and 2. If we want to go even bigger, we're going to start the row with 3 slip stitches. So each time we add another slip stitch to the beginning and end. So again, skip the first stitch and then work 3 slip stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And then a single crochet, half double crochet, and then 3 double crochet all in the same stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. And then mirror it back down the other side. 1, 2, 3 double crochet all in that same stitch, followed by a half double crochet, a single crochet, and then end it with 3 slip stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. So let's say this is the size we wanted to make our ear. Then we would slip stitch all the way to the point. And you can just do this roughly, just kind of figuring out where you need to go, just to evenly slip stitch till you've gone to this point. And again, I like to work that final slip stitch on the back side. And that would be your ear. Another option too is if you want, you can slip stitch all the way around your ear to kind of edge it, and that'll neaten up some of the messier spots where we turned and things like that. So I'll show you how that looks. I'm just putting one slip stitch in each stitch from the previous round. If you go with a bigger ear size, I like to do the slip stitch all the way around, but if I'm doing just the one row, I usually don't do the slip stitch edging. Now, as a quick note, you might notice my ear is curling. That is for two reasons. One, I tend to do slip stitches very tightly, so doing that slip stitch border causes it to curl, but it kind of makes it look like an ear. I kind of like it. But as this pattern grows, it's not foolproof and it may start to curve. So if it is curving and you want your ear to be more flat and less curved inward, that means you need to do some extra stitches to get it to lay flat. So maybe when you do your half double crochet, do 2 half double crochet as you get to some of these wider rounds. But that's how you make the ear. Let me make 2 small ears and then I'll show you how I attach it to the hat. Alright, so here is my hat and here are my ears. Let's go ahead and attach these. So once you are done with your ear, you will have a tail coming from the center and you will have a tail coming from the tip. And we're going to run these through wherever we want to position our hat. So I like to find my seam and put that along one edge so I'm looking at the side of my hat here. And I'm going to figure out how far forward or back I want my ear to be. And once I figure out about how far back I want it, I'm going to insert at this red level here. And then take the tail from the center of my ear and pull it through to the inside of my hat. So it'll be through there like that. And then I'm going to figure out how much I want my ear tilted forward or down. I'll probably go, if I went in here, I'll go like maybe 1 or 2 stitches farther forward. And I'm going to insert through there a couple stitches forward and then catch this yarn tail and pull it through. And then I'm going to check and see if I like the placement, which I do. And if I like the placement, I'm going to come to the inside. And I'm just going to tie these together to tie it on there. Now really quick, you do want this tied securely so your ear doesn't fall off, but you want to be careful that you don't cinch the fabric up a bunch or else you'll end up pulling the hat under. So for your first knot, you want to keep it loose enough so that way the ear and the hat stay flat. Once you've got that tied where it's snug but not pulling on the fabric, we will tie a second knot, and these are just basic overhand knots, and we'll cinch that one down. We'll tie a few more, and then our first ear will be attached. Now the trick is getting the other ear to line up. That's always the trickiest part. I like to find the center of the one and kind of visualize where it will line up with the other side. And then run my hook through there. Feed the tail from the middle of the ear through. And then again, figure about where I need to run the tip through. Check my position. Do I like it? Does it look balanced? I think that's so cute. And once I like where it's at, I will again just come to the inside and tie this off. And at this point, our hat is all put together. Of course, I do have to weave in my tail. It's my least favorite part of the project. And again, you could put a pom-pom on here if you wanted. But this is the any size elf hat pattern. I hope you guys like this project. I know I went a little slower this time, but there's a lot of unconventional things that I do in this project. So I want it to be really clear so it's easy to understand. And another thing is I will hopefully put this pattern on my blog. My blog is currently down right now and I'm not quite sure when I'm going to get it back up. But once that comes back up, I will hopefully have the pattern available on there as well. So I'll update the description with a link to that once that's available. But thank you so much for watching. If you're going to make this project or you enjoyed this video, please help support me by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I hope everyone's having an awesome Christmas season and I'll catch you on my next video. Happy crafting!